Today we're going to be dealing with given a midpoint and an endpoint to find the other endpoint. So for this problem, we have the midpoint of -2 and 2 and the endpoint of 3 and 4. So just for right now, we're just graphing the 2 points so we can get a general idea on where the endpoint may be. So we take our midpoint and our endpoint, and we're going to be using the midpoint formula, which is x1 plus x2 over 2 with y1 plus y2 over 2. So we're going to be using the x1 plus x2 over 2, but since we already have the midpoint, we know that it's going to be -2 and that x2 is 3. So after you plug in everything, you multiply 2 by both sides to get rid of the fraction. So you're left with x1 plus 3 equals -4. After that, you want to subtract 3 by both sides, and you're left with x1 equals -7. Now that we found x1, we still have to find y1. So we use the formula y1 plus y2 over 2, except again we still have the midpoint, so we know that it's going to be 2 and that y2 is 4. So you multiply 2 on both sides to get rid of the fraction, so you're left with y1 plus 4 equals 4. After that, you subtract 4 by both sides, and you're left with y1 equals 0. So our final answer should be -7, 0. Now that we have the last point, we finally graph it. If you graph all 3 points and they make a straight line, that's when you know you did it right. So for this next problem, we have a midpoint of 4 and 8 and an endpoint of -6 and 4. So just for right now, we could put down both points so we could get a general idea on where the third and final point is going to be. So we take the midpoint and the endpoint, and again we are going to be using the midpoint formula. So since we already have our midpoint, we know that this is going to equal 4. And that x2 is -6. So now we multiply 2 by both sides to get rid of the fraction. After that, you should be left with x1 minus 6 equals 8. Then you want to add 6 to both sides, which leaves you with x1 equals 14. Now we're going to be solving for y. So because we already have our midpoint, we know that this is going to equal 8 and that y2 is 4. multiply 2 by both sides to get rid of the fraction. And you should be left with y1 plus 4 equals 16. After that, you want to subtract 4 by both sides, so you're left with y1 equals 12. Now your final answer should be 1412. Now that we have the final point, we can put it on the graph. Again, if you mark all 3 points and they make a straight line, you did everything correctly. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time.